Hey y'all, it's Crystal. Welcome back here. Today we're gonna do a book tag. Yeah, it's a tag video. It's the Stranger Things book tag. So I wore my Demogorgon shirt today. Gotta be thematic around here, you know? So this tag was created by my pal Brad Proctor, and he tagged me. So of course I'm gonna do it because I love Stranger Things. I do. I'm a big fan, and yeah, I love it, and I absolutely loved season 4. Yeah, really loved it. So these questions are actually centered around season 4, or themed around season 4, which is fun. So let's jump right into it, shall we? Let's go. So number 1, the Upside Down. An alternate dimension that exists in parallel to our own world, inhabited by deadly predators. Name a fantasy, sci-fi, horror, or dystopian world that you would not want to get stuck in. I hate to be a bit on the nose here, but I don't think I'd like to live in The Handmaid's Tale, particularly if I lived in Gilead. No, thank you. Especially, well, not as a lady anyway. Am I right? Yeah. Let's move on. Number 2, the Hellfire Club. An unpopular and misunderstood group of nerds who are more than what they seem at first glance. Name a book that you think more people would enjoy if only they'd give it a chance. I went with this one, The New and Improved Rummy Fetch by Julia Elliott. Now, Julia Elliott is she's a known author and everything, but I loved this book, and I would love for everyone to read this book. It is so good and so fun, absolutely zany, strange. It's just, this is my kind of stuff when I'm looking for something that's just a little different and a little weird. This ticks the boxes. Our main character's name is Rummy Fetch, one of the best names ever in literature, in my opinion. And he's like a middle-aged dude. He's kind of down and out. You know, he's kind of down and out. He's drinks a lot. He's like divorced. I mean, his life's just not, where he thought it was going to be, right? And so he signs up for this kind of medical, scientific trial to boost his intelligence, essentially. And so the first part of the book is he's going through this trial, and then the latter part of the book is him afterwards, and he's now new and improved. He's super smart now, and he's still like hanging out with his kind of goofball friends. He's become an artist, trying to still win his ex-wife back. There's a hunt involving a wild hog in here. I'm telling you, it's like a Coen Brothers movie in a book, and it is so good. I wish everyone would read it because it's just so damn good. So read this book, it's good. Alrighty, number 3, Dungeons and Dragons. The Hellfire Club is ready to take on Vecna and his minions in the climactic final battle of Dungeon Master Eddie Munson's campaign. Name a book or series that you would like to see adapted into a game, either a board game, tabletop, video game, whatever, any kind of game. I had a couple of things come to mind, but I thought Coraline would make a really fun little adventure video game, kind of like Mario Brothers or Banjo-Kazooie. Any Banjo-Kazooie fans? I love those kind of games where you go around like collecting things, and you finish a level and there's kind of a big baddie at the end of each level, kind of thing. Those are my favorite kind of games to play. I feel like Coraline would be really, and maybe there is a Coraline game out there. I don't even know. I didn't even look before. But I think it'd be a really fun little adventure type of video game where you had little things you had to do along the way, little things you had to collect and all that kind of things, little levels you had to defeat before, of course, the big bad final baddie at the end would be the other mother, right? I just feel like it would be really fun and the world, visually it would look really cool. Yeah, so I think Coraline would be a really fun video game. Let's make that happen. Number 4, Worlds Apart. 11, Mike, Dustin, Hopper, and the rest of the gang are spread across the globe. It's never a good idea to split the party, especially in a boss fight. Name a favorite bookish group of unlikely heroes. So I went with the Axiom series by Tim Pratt. This is a space opera, science fiction story series, and it features this kind of ragtag group of folks that are on this spacecraft, and they just kind of get tangled up in something along the way, that they just get wrapped up in it, and ended up having to fight things that they aren't fighters, they're more like kind of scavengers, and they shuttle things, like loads back and forth through space and stuff. They aren't fighters, but they end up taking on this kind of big bad evil, kind of evil alien or whatever, and it's just really fun. The crew itself, like I said, they're kind of like ragtag crew, so there's a lot of comedy along the way. They're very different. All of the members of the crew are extremely different types of characters, types of people, and so when they get together, it's just a really fun dynamic. It's just a really fun series, and it's a little bit more lighthearted. So if you're a fan of, say, like the Wayfarer series, I would definitely recommend this series. It has kind of that same feel and vibe to the characters, and it's just a really fun space opera trilogy. So the Axiom series it's a fun one, and a really great group of characters, and unlikely heroes for sure. All right, number 5, Pineapple Pie. Argyle recommends you slap some juicy pineapple on your pie. Oh, fruit on pizza is gnarly, you say? Well, Argyle says try before you deny. Name a book that you weren't sure you'd like, but you're glad you decided to read it anyway. So I went with Black Leopard, Red Wolf by Marlon James, which I actually buddy read with Brad Proctor, and we both loved it. And I wasn't sure if I was going to, though, because this is a fantasy world, and a fantasy book. And I remember when it first came out and people were reading it, a lot of people were like DNFing it. A lot of people were like not enjoying this. It was like kind of brutal. It's more of a kind of has some darker bits to it. So a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, I can't handle that. The writing, people were like, oh, it's difficult, it's hard. So I was nervous going into it, but I was so intrigued. So I really still wanted to read it, and I did, and I loved it. I loved it. It's a sort of African-inspired fantasy with really kind of another ragtag group of unlikely heroes, and this group actually too. But our main character is this man named Tracker, who, as his name suggests, is able to track people long distances away through his incredible sense of smell. There's like a witch in here. This group comes together to look for a lost child. There's political machinations going on. It's a lot going on here, and I loved it, and I'm so glad I read it. All right, number 6, Vecna. Using telepathic abilities, Vecna is able to delve into one's mind, exposing their hidden guilt. Name a favorite fictional book villain with cool, otherworldly, or supernatural abilities. So without giving too much away, I went with the Passage series, really this whole trilogy. The Passage, The 12, and City of Mirrors, I think, yeah. I love this series. First of all, I love it. I love these books. They're so good. They're chunky, but they're good. And there's a villain. There's some villains in here that they're really good and evil, and they definitely have some slight powers of control. I don't want to give too much away, so I don't say too much, but basically in this book here, if you haven't read this yet or heard of it, it's kind of a post-apocalyptic kind of story. So right at the beginning, the world is coming to an end because basically a virus type of situation is spreading and basically turning people into vampires. And so the story kind of picks up like 100 years later, and these sort of remnants of humanity are trying to survive, and it's so good. It's long, but I flew through it. It's so good, and the whole trilogy is just amazing. It's so good. All right, Running Up That Hill. Kate Bush's song Running Up That Hill plays nonstop on Max Mayfield's Walkman during season 4 of Stranger Things and has risen up the charts since the season debuted. Name a genre, a subgenre, or a trope that you would like to see gain popularity. What I really need right now is more sci-fi horror. Can I please have more sci-fi horror? Like, I know there's some out there, but I need more. I need the darker side of sci-fi, preferably in space. So let me narrow that down to space horror. Okay, not just sci-fi horror. Space horror. I need more. Give it to me, please. Thank you. All right, number 8 is 4 chimes. Not everyone is fortunate enough to survive encounters with denizens from the upside down. Name a fictional book character whose death absolutely broke you. And I picked this book, and even though some of these characters are based off of real people, this is a fictional book. So I went with Betty by Tiffany McDaniel. There are actually like 3 deaths in here that broke me to pieces. I sobbed so much reading this book in general. Anyway, but there are, let me think. Yeah. So 3 characters in particular broke my heart. This is a heartbreaking book anyway. It's sad. Only read it if you want to cry. But it's beautifully written. It's so good. But yeah. I was toe up from that book. I'm still tore up. So that's it. That is the Stranger Things book tag. I hope you enjoyed. And let me tag. I'm gonna tag Katrina Brown because I know that she also enjoys Stranger Things. If you feel up to it. I don't know if you do tags much, Katrina, but feel free to if you would like to. And anybody else who likes Stranger Things, do the tag. It's a fun one. The questions were a lot of fun I had to think a little bit about some of those. So yeah, thanks for watching. That's gonna do it for me, guys. Appreciate your time as always. You know I do. And till next time, bye.